Hello everyone, and welcome to Songs of the Seder. It's a wonderful opportunity to sing together as a community. I'm excited to journey through these songs together with you. One of the challenges of choosing songs for a Seder is that every family has their own tunes. Every family seems to have the tunes that they knew from their parents and their grandparents. That's one of the beauties of the Seder, that it's such a family-oriented experience. So I've tried as best as I could, together with Yuval, to choose some tunes, most of the tunes that are sort of more universal, tunes that you'll be familiar with. So please do, if you're familiar with the tunes, sing along. Some tunes here and there will be a bit different, but no harm in learning some new songs anyway. So the first one we're going to do together is the very first song that everyone sings at the Seder. And what's interesting about it, Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, a very familiar song to everyone. What's fascinating is that we're pretty much singing the table of contents. We're pretty much singing the order of the service of the Seder, which is a strange thing to do. We don't generally sing, a table of contents when we have some sort of event. But I think one of the reasons behind us singing that is to remind ourselves that really that's what the Seder is all about. Seder in Hebrew, the word Seder in Hebrew translates as order in English. The Seder reminds us that there's order to the world. We look at the world around us and we sometimes see disorder. We wonder how on earth there could be a God if there are so many crazy things going on, especially during times like this. Many people are wondering that. But the Seder really brings us back to our very early beginnings and reminds us the Jewish people felt exactly the same way in Egypt. They saw disorder. They didn't see that there was any God guiding them through a journey through life. And as we go through the Seder, we recognize that what looks like disorder is really order. So without further ado, I'm going to begin the very first song of the Seder. Please join along with me. Kadesh Urchatz Karpas Yachatz Magid Rochzo Moitzi Matzo Moror Koirech Shulchan Oirech Tzafun Borech Hallel Nirtzon. In case you didn't know that one, we're going to do a second one. Kadesh Urchatz Karpas Yachatz Magid Rochzo Moitzi Matzo Moror Koirech Shulchan Oirech Tzafun Borech Hallel Nirtzon. Lai 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 la 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 la. Kadesh Urchatz Karpas Yachatz Magid Rochzo Moitzi Matzo Moror Koirech Shulchan Oirech Tzafun Borech Hallel Nirtzon. Lai lai la 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 la. So one of the very first songs we sing at the Seder is every child's favorite song of the Seder, the one which is it's their moment to sing, and the youngest child asks the Manish Tana, the 4 questions. In Judaism, we never ever shy away from questions, and indeed the Seder begins with questions. Everything we do at the Seder is to encourage questions from the children as well. We want our children to ask. We want our children to challenge. We want the younger generations to push us and challenge us to answer why we do what we do and where it all comes from. So indeed the Seder begins with the 4 questions which we answer almost immediately afterwards. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot shebechol haleilot anu achlin chametzu matzah halayla hazeh kuloi matzah שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים שאר ירקות, שאר ירקות. הלילה הזה מרור, הלילה הזה maror. The first question we ask is, why on earth do we eat this funny cracker called matzah every other night of the year? It seems fine to eat bread, yet tonight we focus entirely on this interesting matzah. And the second question we ask is, why on earth do we have these bitter herbs? Usually we don't focus so much on the bitter herbs. We have all sorts of different vegetables, but tonight the bitter herbs. Next two questions. שבכל הלילות איננו מטבילין אפילו פעם אחת, אפילו פעם אחת. הלילה הזה שתי פעמים, הלילה הזה שתי פעמים. שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים בין יושבים ובין מסובין, בין יושבים ובין מסובין. הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין, הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין. So after we ask the four questions at the Seder, immediately we answer those four questions, and we say, Avadim hayinu leFaro b'Mitzrayim, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. So let's put a little Pharaoh hat on for this song. Avadim hayinu leFaro b'Mitzrayim, b'Mitzrayim. 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 After we say Avadim hayinu, we say, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and if God wouldn't have taken us out of Egypt all those many years ago, through almost 3,500 years ago, we would still be slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt today. And one often wonders when reading those words, is that really true? Would we still really be slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, even if God hadn't taken us out? We've had the emancipation recently where slavery's been abolished, seemingly nothing to do with God. Surely by now we would have been free from Egypt, even if God hadn't taken us out. But I think really the answer to that question is that we don't appreciate how much we, the Jewish people, have taught the world. We don't appreciate what happened at Mount Sinai, where we received this book of wisdom, this book of morality, the book of ethics. The world understands that slavery is wrong as a result of who we were as a people. And if we were never taken out of Egypt and we would never have received the Torah at Mount Sinai, perhaps the world would never have understood how terrible slavery is. So we move on with another famous Seder song, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. We bless God, recognizing that God's the one that took us out of Egypt. Please join me, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenosan Torah, Shenosan Torah Li'amo Yisrael. Baruch Hu, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenosan Torah, Shenosan Torah li'amo Yisrael, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. Moving on, we've just described how we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. We described the song I just sang, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, blessing God that we received the Torah, we received this fantastic, wonderful book of wisdom, which we would never have received if we hadn't left Egypt. And now we move on and describe what happens in the Magid. We usually raise our cup of wine for this part, and we say, V'hi she'amda l'avotenu v'lanu, the promise made to our fathers, to our forefathers, holds true for us as well. That it wasn't just one generation that rose up to destroy us, but in every single generation, throughout our history, we've experienced anti-Semitism. In every single generation, they've risen up to try and destroy us, be it the Holocaust, be it the Spanish Inquisition, be it the pogroms, be it the Romans, be it the Egyptians. Every single nation has risen up against the Jews, yet every single time we have managed to survive. By the grace of God, we've managed to survive. Possibly one of the most amazing miracles in our entire history, the fact that we're still here. The most amazing miracles of the Jewish people still stand. We're going to do 2 tunes for this one. Please join me. Hopefully you'll know both of them. V'hi she'amda la'avoseinu v'lanu, V'hi she'amda la'avoseinu v'lanu, Shelo yechad bilvad amad aleinu l'chaloseinu, Shelo yechad bilvad amad aleinu l'chaloseinu, Elo shebechol dor v'dor roimdim aleinu l'chaloseinu, Elo shebechol dor v'dor roimdim aleinu l'chaloseinu, V'hakadosh Baruch Hu matzileinu miyadam, V'hakadosh Baruch Hu matzileinu miyadam. We do a beautiful, another rendition of V'hi she'amda by Yonatan Razel, a song which has become very, very famous in the past few years. Please join me for this one too. V'hi she'amda la'avoteinu, V'hi she'amda la'avoteinu v'lanu, Shelo echad bilvad amad aleinu l'chaloteinu, Amad aleinu l'chaloteinu, V'hi she'amda la'avoteinu, V'hi she'amda la'avoteinu v'lanu, Shelo yechad bilvad amad aleinu l'chaloseinu, Amad aleinu l'chaloseinu, V'hakadosh Baruch Hu matzileinu miyadam, V'hakadosh Baruch Hu matzileinu miyadam, na 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 next song, famous song that everyone knows, Dayenu. Please join along with me. Dayenu is a beautiful song because what it really is, it's all about gratitude, and it teaches us what gratitude really is all about. The chorus, Dayenu, means it would have been enough. Every single step along the way, every single one of the things that God did for us, from leaving Egypt up until Mount Sinai, up until our time in the desert as well, we say it would have been enough. Even if you would have done just one thing for us, even if you would have just taken us out of Egypt, but you wouldn't have split the sea for us, even if you would have split the sea, but we wouldn't. All along the way, we say, God, whatever you do for us is enough. And that teaches us such an important lesson about gratitude. Instead of looking at the cup being half full, instead of looking at the cup being half empty, we look at the cup being half full, recognizing that we don't deserve anything, that every single little bit that we get is enough. It would have been enough. God, we appreciate everything you did. And now that you did everything for us, wow, that's amazing. But Dayenu is really a song which talks to the core of what gratitude really means. Ilu, Ilu, Haitzianu, Mi Mitzrayim, Belay Asavahem, Shefatim Dayenu. Ilu Asavahem, Shefatim, Belay Asav, Eloheihem Dayenu. Ilu Asav, Eloheihem, Belay Harages, Bechayrehem Dayenu. Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Ilu haragas b'chayrehem v'loy nasan lanu esma moynam Dayenu. Ilu nasan lanu esma moynam v'loy kara lanu esayom Dayenu. Ilu kara lanu esayom v'loy heavy run b'secha b'charava Dayenu. Ilu heavy run b'secha b'charava v'loy shikatza rein b'secha Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu again, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Dayenu, Dayenu, Dayenu. It would have been enough. Everything that God did for us, it would have been enough. And we sing that to us and our families on a Seder night. So we've done a few songs from Magid, which is telling the story of the Exodus of Egypt, telling the story of our beginnings, how we ended up in there, how we left Egypt. We're going to skip all the way through to some songs from Hallel, where we sing praise to God, recognizing how fortunate we are, how grateful we are for all the incredible miracles that He did for us when we left Egypt, when He took us out of Egypt from that terrible, terrible slavery in Egypt. Please join me. B'tzeis Yisrael, B'tzeit Yisrael, Mi Mitzrayim. B'tzeis Yisrael, Mi Mitzrayim, Beis Yaakov, Me'am lo yes. Hoysa Yehuda lekotshoi, Yisrael mam shelo yisov. Hayom rov hayonos, hayardein tisoiv leyochor. Ehorim roku chayelim, gebois kivnei tzoin, malecho hayom kisonus. Hayardein tisoiv leyochor. Ehorim לפני ידיים חולי אורץ מלפני אלוקי יעקב ההופכי עצור הגמויים חלום משלמי נוימויים נילי לה 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 נענני עדיין חולי אורץ מלפני אלוקי יעקב ההופכי עצור הגמויים חלום משלמי נוימויים. Moving on to some more songs from Hallel. Please join along with me. Hashem zacharani yivarech, yivarech es Beis Yisrael. Blessed is the Jewish people. Blessed are we that we are so incredibly grateful and fortunate to have all the incredible miracles that happen to us and opportunities given to us. Yevarech es Beis Yisrael, Yevarech es Beis Aaron, Yevarech Yirei Hashem, Aktanim im Hagadolim, Yosef Hashem Aleichem, Aleichem v'al b'neichem, Baruchim atem l'Hashem. Oisei shomayim ba'aretz ha-shomayim shomayim l'Hashem Oretz nosan lifnei Adam Loi ha-mesim ye'alelu go V'loi kol yerdei dumo V'anachnu nevorecho Me'ato v'yado ilo La 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 What can I return to you, God? All your goodness, for all the goodness that you've done for me. When we look back at our lives and think about all the goodness that we have, whatever we've received from God, and we really truly think about that, we recognize that what can we possibly give to God back in return? Life itself, the gift of life itself, how incredibly gifted we are to have that most incredible gift. And we sing about this on Hallel, life and everything else that comes along with life. Moshiv LaHashem Kol Tagmulo Hioloi Kois Yeshuois Etzo Uveshem Hashem Ekro Nedorai Lashem Mashalim Negono Lechol Amoy Yokor B'yeinei Hashem Amov Sol HaChasido Abdecho ben Amosecho Ani Abdecho ben Amosecho Itachto lemoisei roi lecho ובשם השם אקרא נדורי להשם השלם נגנו לכל עמוי בחצרויס בייס השם בסויכי ירושלים na 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 Elohim hallelujah. Thank you so much for singing along with me. Incredible to be able to sing these songs before Pesach, get us in the spirit of Pesach, of Passover, and also get these songs touched up a bit so we can sing them properly at the Seder. We continue with Nishmas. This is a song which I don't believe many of you will know, but it's a beautiful song, one of my favorite songs. Please do open your hearts, open your souls, sing along Nishmas together with me. This is one of the prayers we say normally on a Shabbat or a Yom Tov or a Chag morning, but yet we sort of have some prayers from there in the Seder itself, in the Haggadah itself. Nishmas kol chai tovarecha shimcha Hashem Elokeinu. The soul of all living things shall bless your name. One of the most beautiful poems we have in all of our prayers in the Pesukei de Zimra, which we sing before at the beginning of the Shacharis service during Shabbat and Yom Tov. Please join me, Nishmas Kol Chai. We sort of sing out and yearn for the day where the whole world sings God's glory, not just human beings, but all of the animal kingdom as well, the seas, the oceans, everything just sings God's praises. Nishmas, nishmas kol chai, nishmas, nishmas kol chai, tevarech es shimcha, shimcha Hashem Elokeinu. Nishmas, nishmas kol chai, nishmas, nishmas kol chai, tevarech es shimcha, es shimcha Hashem Elokeinu. Beruach kol basar tefoiru saroimei. Beruach kol basar tefoiru saroimei. Zidrecha malkeinu tamid min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam atokein min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam atokein min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam atokein min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam atokein. I'm gonna speeding through the Haggadah over here, speeding through the Seder. I'm going to sing a song which pretty much marks the end of the beginning of the Seder, or rather, the beginning of the end of the Seder. Chasal Siddur Pesach Kehilchato. We sing that we finished the Pesach in accordance of the way that we should do it, and we're on our way pretty much to Nirtza, which is the final songs of praise that we sing during the Seder. Join me, please join me. Chasal Siddur Pesach Kehilchato, V'chol Mishpatoi V'chukasoi, Kasher zochinu lesader roisoi, Kasher zochinu lesader roisoi, Kei nizke lasoisoi, Zoch shoichein me'oino, Koi mem kahala das mimono, Bekor roiv nahel nitechano, Bekor roiv nahel nitechano, Peduyim letzion varino. At the end of the Seder, we remember that although we have comfortable lives outside of Israel, well, perhaps not the past year, but generally speaking, our lives are comfortable and good. We yearn to go back to Jerusalem. We yearn for the third temple to be rebuilt in Jerusalem. We yearn to all come back and come back to our homeland where we all really belong in the way that it really should be. And therefore we sing. We sing at the end of the Seder with joy, knowing that next year, please God, we will be in Jerusalem. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. Ay l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, b'Yerushalayim habnuya. Ay l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, b'Yerushalayim habnuya. And after we sing L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, after we sing about how much we yearn to go back to Jerusalem, we have these songs at the end of the Seder that everyone knows, that marks the end of the Seder, but the fun part of the Seder for many families as well. Adir hu yivnei beito v'karev, God is mighty. Please, may He rebuild the temple very soon. And all the way through the song, we praise God, giving Him all sorts of different praises, but always saying, please rebuild that temple soon. Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild your temples soon. How much we yearn for that temple to be rebuilt. Adir hu yivne beisai bekarev, bimheira biyameinu bekarev, kel b'nei beischa bekarev, bachur hu gadol hu, Dagul hu yivne beisai bekarev, bimheira biyameinu bekarev, kel b'nei beischa bekarev, skip tahir hu yachid hu, kabir hu lamud hu, melech hu, Nohirahu, Sagifu, Izusu, Poidehu, Tzadiku, Yivne Beisai Bekarev, Bimheira biyameinu bekarev, kel b'nei beischa bekarev. Echad Miyadeh. We're not going to go through the entire song of Echad Miyadeh. That will take a long time. But I'm going to perhaps start the first two Maybe skip to the last two as well. Echad Miyodea goes through all the numbers from 1 to 13. Echad Miyodea goes through all the numbers from 1 to 13. And by the end of the Seder, we are so aware of God. We are so aware of how much goodness He has done for us. We are so appreciative of all the goodness He's done for us that the numbers themselves, we see God. When we see 1, when we see 2, when we see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, we think of God because we really appreciate how much He's involved in every area of our lives, so much so that the numbers themselves sing out God's praises. Echad miyodea, echad ani yodea, echad Elokeinu, 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 sheba shamayim uvaretz, shnayim miyodea, shnayim ani yodea, shnei luchot habrit, echad Elokeinu, 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 sheba shamayim uvaretz. We're going to skip till just 2 before the end. Shnei masar miyodea, shnei masar ani yodea, shnei masar shiftaya, achad asar kochvaya, asara dibraya, tisha yarchei leida, shmona yemei mila, shiva yemei shabta, shisha sidrei mishna, chamisha chumshei Torah, arba imahot, shlosha avot, shnei luchot habrit, echad Elokeinu, 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 sheba shamayim uvaretz. Join me for the very last one. Shlosha sar miyodea, shlosha sar ani yodea, shlosha sar midaya, shtei masar shiftaya, chad asar kochvaya, asara dibraya, tisha yarchei leida, shmona yemei mila, shiva yemei shabta, shisha sidrei mishna, chamisha chumshei Torah, arba imahot, shlosha avot, shnei luchot habrit, echad Elokeinu, 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 sheba shamayim uvaretz. Grand finale for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining with me and for your wonderful comments as well. The grand finale is the grand finale of the Seder, the song that everyone knows so well, Chad Gadya, the story about that one little kid, that one little goat, which the father bought for 2 zuzim. That one little goat represents the Jewish people. The father represents God. The 2 zuzim, which the father bought the kid, the goat for, represents the 2 tablets of stone, the 10 commandments, which, so to speak, God bought the Jewish people with. And as the story goes on, there are so many different animals that try and destroy this goat. The cat comes along to bite the goat, but yet the cat gets bitten by the dog, and the dog gets hit by the stick, and the stick gets burnt up by the fire, and so on and so forth, going all the way back. All these different things in Chad Gadya represent the different nations of the world that tried to destroy the Jewish people. We had nations that came and tried to destroy us, that a nation came after them and destroyed them. And the nation came after them and destroyed them, going all the way back and all the way back up until the very final one is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is God Himself comes and protects us from all the nations of the world. We sing that on a Seder night because Jews, no matter where they've been, through the most challenging of times, we've sung this song recognizing that however difficult things may look out there, however hopeless things may look out there, however much disorder we see in the world, we recognize that if we go all the way back, we always remember that God ultimately has our backs, and God is always going to protect the Jewish people and make sure that we still exist. And indeed, we still exist today, which is, as I mentioned at the beginning, one of the most unbelievable miracles of all time. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. We can go high, Yuval. Ya Chad Gadya, Dezabin Abba Bisrei Zuzei. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. So along comes the cat and bites this goat. V'yasa shunra v'yachla legadya Dizabin abba bisrei zuzei chad gadya V'yasa kalva denashach l'shunra v'yachla legadya Dezabin abba bisrei zuzei chad gadya. What I'm going to do is, it's going to take a long time to get through all of this. I'm going to skip right till the end. We're going to go through all the different characters from the song Chad Gadya. I'm going to try and do it wearing my special goat mask as well. Let's see how this works. V'yasa HaKadosh Baruch Hu D'shachad l'shoichei D'shachad l'soira D'shasa l'maya D'saraf l'chutra D'hika l'kalba D'nashach l'shunra D'yacha l'gadya Dezabin abba bisrei zuzei chad gadya Chad gadya Chad gadya Chad gadya Thank you so much all for joining me. I've never sung in a mask like that before, especially having to squeeze my mic through the mouth of the goat, and I've lost my glasses so you can see me but I can't see you. But just wanted to wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful Pesach, a wonderful Passover. Pesach is a time of freedom, not just freedom from the Jewish slavery in Egypt, but our own personal freedom as well. It's a time of year where we recognize that we can truly break free from anything in our lives that's holding ourselves back from being who we really want to be. We are told that this special time of year has within it the power for us to break free. Just as the Jews were able to break free from Egypt 3,333 years ago, we too have the ability to break free from our own personal slaveries, from the things in our lives that are holding us back, that are really holding us back and that we feel enslaved to. And please God, we'll be able to utilize this opportunity to do that for ourselves. We can come out of the slavery which we've all been feeling over the past year, the slavery of lockdown, the slavery of coronavirus. We look forward to that ending very, very soon, please God. But ultimately, as we sung about just before, we look forward to coming back to our holy temple in Jerusalem. We look forward to coming back to our homeland where the Jewish people can once again be free, spiritually free to practice our religion the way we want to practice it, be free to express ourselves the way we want to express ourselves, and be free to be close to God in the way that we truly, truly yearn for. Wishing you a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a happy and kosher Pesach. And once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Yuval for your wonderful, wonderful keyboard accompaniment. Thank you to the CCE, Chief Rabbi's office, for providing us a grant for funding for this event. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining in. Chag Kasher v'Sameach.